So imagine that you are just sitting at home, chilling, Netflix, you're propped up on the couch, and all of a sudden you hear your name called by a family member. So you get up, you're like, yeah, and nobody answers. So you get up, you go to the door, you're calling around the house, but there's absolutely no one home. You are completely alone. But yet you just heard an identified voice call your name. Well, that's what a lot of people call a mimic ghost. We're hoping it's a ghost, okay? That's the best alternative in this situation. We're going to be talking about that today, and some of you are sharing your own experiences, and then we've got some random ghost stories. So, if you love true ghost stories, don't go anywhere. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Yeah, we're going to talk about mimics, and someone also mentions a wendigo. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. I almost want to study it, but it is kind of terrifying. I'm not going to lie. But let's dive in. Okay, this one is by Jeanette Chavez. I love all of the stories. If I knew a house was haunted, no, I would not move in. Now, that was in response to a question I asked y'all because I knew this house was haunted on the first day. And again, it's kind of a strange. It's not like traditional haunting. It is and it's not. Long story. But Jeanette said she would not have moved in. She says, I had enough when I was young in my parents' house, and I don't want to do that again. As a short example, my father was sitting in the living room. We were all watching TV together. It was at night. Someone came to the door and started knocking. My parents thought, who could this be at this hour? My dad got up and opened the door, and no one was there. So he closed the door and sat down, and then it knocked again. So my dad got up again, and no one was there. This happened a couple more times until it stopped. At this point, my dad was mad and thought someone was playing a joke of some sort, so he went outside and never saw anyone. So finally, it stopped. We just blew it off as the ghost and went back to watching TV. But I was scared. That was just too spooky for me. My dad named it Casper, and anytime something would happen, he would just blame it on Casper. I actually know a lot of people who call their ghosts or paranormal activity Casper. But yeah, I haven't heard a knock here in a long time, but the first probably 6 months that we lived in this house, there was constant knocking on the front door, and sometimes I would only be a few feet from it. And yeah, you can't run fast enough for me to get to the door and you to hide. Like, it's not going to happen. And no one was there. So I get it. Scully, are you okay back there? I've got a candle burning. I love candles. Do y'all love candles? This one's apple scented and it smells so good. And Scully wanted it too. But I get nervous every time he's around a candle or fire because Scully, what happened last year at the barbecue? He had to have the whole reconstruction. So I'm just saying, I'm watching you back there. Don't get too close. All right, let's go on. Okay, and this one comes from Sam. I've lived in quite a few haunted houses, never had a mimic ghost. The trailer park where my son used to live either had a doppelganger ghost or a wendigo. They're different, but there are a lot of things that are similar. We'll talk about that. It was surrounded by woods. People would swear many times that my preschool age grandson was wandering the trailer park alone both night and day. Often we would find my grandson taking a nap or in bed for the night. Sometimes the people swearing they saw my grandson were so convinced that they saw him that we would literally show him the sleeping grandson. Okay, that is weird. It is kind of like, all right. There were no other preschool aged or grade school aged, even blonde haired, blue eyed little boys at the trailer park. Interesting side note that those woods are the woods where Karina McClurkin's remains were found a couple of decades later. Oh, okay, okay. My son and his family luckily hadn't lived in that trailer park for years. Okay, this is all coming back to me. So this was sent in by Samantha Springman. I was wondering why I didn't have the whole name. On my other channel, where I cover true crime and specifically Delphi, there is a related incident. Karina McClurkin did go missing for years, and her remains were found in the woods. So I know exactly who you're talking about. It was a terribly sad case. Beautiful girl, bad situation. So your grandson, okay, that's crazy because, like, a doppelganger, for I'm assuming most of y'all know, but if you don't, a doppelganger is like a ghost that looks just like you or someone you love, like someone close to you. You see this person, like you swear that that person is there doing something. And in fact, they're nowhere close. My daughter had a doppelganger when she was about 2 or 3 years old. I saw that with my own eyes. And my oldest son and one of his best friends at the time saw me in a place. They both swore it was me, my car. They were really close to me. They knew it was like there was no doubt. But yet I was in a city about 25 miles away at the time. So that was crazy. But doppelgangers are really confusing because, like, you really think you're seeing someone. I've actually had people say that in other situations about me. So I would say just hearing your grandson's voice or, thinking it was him would be more, especially in the woods, it would be more on the order of a wendigo, which, if y'all don't know what a wendigo is, it's like a cryptid. It's like a creature that mimics voices, and I think they pretty much eat you. That's the legend. All right. But a lot of people will hear a wendigo in the woods. It sounds like a woman saying, "Help me." That's probably the most popular thing. They mimic a situation to make you want to go outside or go look for this person who is needing help. Wendigos do often mimic people that you know. It's a very strange phenomenon. And there are so many cases of this. It is absolutely horrifying. They're also kind of referred to sometimes as skinwalkers of a certain kind. And the fact that people were so convinced that you sometimes had to show them your grandson, yeah, that wasn't somebody just making up a story. But seeing him, actually, I would have to say that's a doppelganger for sure. And with the history of that area and stuff, yeah, there's probably a lot of strangeness. You know what I'm talking about, Samantha. A lot of strangeness in that area. Okay. Thanks for sharing that story. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder about some stuff. Okay, this one is from Sharon Arundale, and this is in response to another story. I know what you are talking about. I lived in an orphanage, newly built, by the way. Well, we hadn't been there long. This happened so many times. I would be the only one upstairs, and I would hear my name. Of course, I respond. No answer. It happened several times in the moment. Finally, I go downstairs and asked everyone, "Did you call me?" I think that everyone thought that I was crazy. It happened there a lot. I remember being somewhere else in a home and heard my name called out. I never figured who in any of the episodes. Haven't heard it since. I like hearing everyone's stories. So interesting. Have a wonderful day. Well, you too, Sharon. So, I guess it was a period of time, or Sharon, was it just in that one house? But I think you said it happened several times. So it makes you wonder, are there just periods of time that you have a mimic or whatever it is? I don't know. But if it ever happens to you, it's really weird. It's not so much spooky and scary in the moment because you really think that somebody's calling you. And then when you realize they're not, you're like, huh, well, what was that? Not quite like seeing a figure and stuff like that. But when you think about it later on, into their path that is like special to you, something that they would know, like a feather or a coin or a certain flower dropped in a room. That would be a better sign, in my opinion, of letting someone know, hey, I'm here and I'm okay. I'm thinking for most people, yeah, a feather might be better. Okay. I don't know. What do y'all think? Would you want to see that? I guess some people might. Sharon Arundel also has a question. Okay, so here, I have a question. I've been touched while sleeping. It woke me up. I laid there and listened for some kind of sound. I didn't hear anything. It took me a long time to even move and go back to sleep. Any idea? Now, I have also felt things very definitely, some things that kind of wake you up because it's touching you, and sometimes I've been wide awake when I felt a touch. Y'all know I don't like these ghosts being all handsy with me. That's just not okay. I've kind of done the same thing. You lay there because all of a sudden your eyes pop open and you're like, what's up? What's going on? Who is that? You're listening for something and nothing. Usually, after I lay there for a few minutes and I realize nothing else is going to happen, I get a little bit snarky, you know? Like, what the heck? Don't you have anything better to do? Go away. Leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. I've been a little salty with visitors, okay, at night. Like, one thing you don't do, you don't interrupt my sleep. Just don't. It better be an emergency. Not a touch, okay? Don't be waking me up with your ghost crap, all right? I got stuff to do the next day. I need my sleep, buddy. Okay, this next one is from Helen T. I have heard conversations around me in our old house. You can tell there is a woman and a man, and sometimes it would sound like several people. I could never figure out what was being said. If I followed the voices to try to get close to them, they always seemed to stay the same distance away. If I heard them in a room, opened the door, and walked in, they would stop talking. It was never angry or argumentative, just deep discussion. Isn't that the thing? In every ghost story I've ever heard, and in every one that I've experienced, and anyone I know, you always hear the voices, and people keep saying it's like they're mumbling. Like I can hear, you can almost pick out a word here or there, and it's like you almost know exactly what they're saying, but you don't. It's like they're mumbling or just below that level of where you can make out the words. And it's crazy that, like, when you move into a different room or you go closer to where the voices are coming from, thinking you can hear them, there's like a shield or something. Like, are they like, oh, yeah, don't let the living hear what you're saying. It's none of their business. Well, I mean, hey, I can understand that. Maybe they want their privacy. Maybe they're living it up, but they really don't want you in their business. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's one or the other. But it's very, very strange. And exactly like you said, you never really understand what the heck these ghosts are talking about. And I'm just saying, I think it's kind of rude. All right. And this one is from Juanita Sadlier. Sadlier? Am I saying that right? My cat passed January 2024. I saw her and heard her purring on my pillow. She was with my two other cats who passed years before her. Isn't that the best thing in the world, though? Even though it's fleeting, it is unnerving. Now, here's a story about signs and omens by Stutley. Am I saying Stutley? Stutley? I'm sorry, I don't know. Constable. Signs and omens. My mother liked mums, but she did not like them when someone gave them to her as a gift. Mom was from Germany, and in the region in which she grew up, mums were considered grave flowers. Whenever Mom got mums, someone she knew passed away. I thought she was exaggerating until I started paying attention, and she was right. She told all of us in the family to never give her mums and pass the word to her friends. When I visit her grave, I usually bring her a little cactus and sometimes roses, but never mums, just in case. Yeah, it's funny how certain families have certain omens. Like, I don't know. I mean, when it's passed down, who did it start from? And I don't know. Like, but it does seem to go with the bloodline. So yeah, I guess we should find out it before we give flowers. Like, this doesn't mean anything to you, does it? I mean, I like to get flowers, so I don't have anything with any certain flowers. So I guess that's good. But do any of you have anything like that? Tell me about it in the comments because I would like to hear what different things runs in your family. Now, this was an interesting story sent in by Sharon Sharf. I think I asked you before, like, am I saying this right? I had street lights turned off and on as I drove by. This went on for months. It would be a city street light, one on the highway, one behind a friend's house while I was standing there. I'm sure it was the spirit who visited me for a few months. Why did he visit? I hired a psychic medium to ask him. He said that I had asked him to help me with my feral cat problems, as he was an animal rescuer. I told him, but you were alive when I asked you. God. Yeah, I just have to say this. I mean, I guess he was trying to be helpful, but here's the thing. Don't be dead and coming to answer my questions. If you couldn't answer me or you didn't have the information when I was living, like, look, just keep it to yourself. Send somebody else who's breathing, okay? I don't want to have a conversation with you. If you're dead, let's just, you know, stay over there. Oh, I know, Scully's giving me the eye. Well, you're kind of the exception, Scully. What do y'all think? It's weird that you say that about streetlights going out because I knew someone that really consistently, every time he would go by the streetlights or stand under a streetlight, it would just fade out and go black. And it's like, okay, that's weird. Are you absorbing its energy? I don't know. That is very spooky. Again, if you're dead, just keep the knowledge to yourself, okay? We're good. Okay, Pegs 1659 says, I've never had a mimic ghost. I have definitely lived in a house with a ghost. There were never any bad things happening, just him letting his presence be known. On the day of my brother's funeral, we were going back to my grandmother's house and were stopped at a traffic light. I looked over at the car next to us and my brother was sitting in wait, what? And my brother was sitting in the passenger seat laughing, like in the other car or in it. Okay, it doesn't matter. Is your car in another car? Okay. I tried to get my sister's attention, but it was like I couldn't move. I've always felt that it was my brother letting me know he was okay and happy. But that has got to be terrifying after someone's death and then you see them in a car. Like, oh, wow. I think I would just be thinking, I'm having a hallucination. All right. It's okay. Take a deep breath. You're hallucinating, Silky. You're hallucinating. Like, I don't know. What do you think in that moment? I'm sure it was a comfort and yet unnerving at the same time. I feel like it is safer to all of you potential ghosts or ghosts here or future ghosts. Like, bear in mind, if you want to let someone know something, I think this is just my personal opinion, okay? It's better to send an object. Okay, y'all, the weirdest thing just happened. Um, I'm sorry, I'm breaking in my last story, but I got this message on my computer that said, your recording has ended. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. I'm still talking. And I don't know. It wasn't a lack of internet. I mean, it does different stuff. If that happens, if my internet goes out, I don't know. So I guess maybe some of the ghosts were just not happy. And I'm trying to remember where I left off. I'm honestly, I'm weirded out. So let's just go to the next story because, oh, yeah. I think it's always great when we have at least one more sighting or feel or you hear them, your cat or any kind of pet. When you get at least one more thing, it's makes it easier to say goodbye. It's never easy. But I think that's lovely, especially since she was with two other cats. So they're all just kind of still around us. I think that's very comforting. That's a beautiful story. Thanks for sharing it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little weirded out, y'all. So if this video is a little bumpy, yeah, it's me. This one is from the Raven Dearest. I love that name. Perhaps it's easier for a ghost to speak out in your voice because they don't have a voice of their own. Huh, I never thought about that. It's almost as if they've recorded or somehow saved your voice saying a name and are playing it, connecting with you, interacting in the only way they can. I've honestly never considered that being a thing, but what if that's true? Like all the things, the conversations that are muffled that we just talked about, what if it's because they don't have a voice of their own and they're hearing it and trying to use that to communicate or just maybe to let you know they're there? I don't know. I sure hope I have a voice when I pass away because I have no intentions of being quiet. All right, so I'm gonna end this here because honestly, I think I need a moment. It's just kind of weird. All right. I do have some more stories for you. I will be back with you soon. If I miss an upload this weekend, it's because of the major storms that are coming through the area. So I don't know if I'll get another one uploaded or not. But please send your stories in. And hey, if you like true ghost stories and you like Scully or Sachi, who just decided she wasn't going to join me tonight, please give me a thumbs up and, consider subscribing because I would really love it if you did, mostly because I love to hear your comments and your stories. And so I think it would be a good idea. But that's just me. All right. I hope you all stay safe out there, stay warm, but whatever you do, just stay spooky. All right. I'll see you later. Bye bye.